They brainwash us to think that we're going over to seas to fight battles for justice and for freedom, and come home to our own home and know that we can't even fight for justice and freedom in our own land. We wait until I just instill in all of the military folks that, hey, look, freedom and justice is not freedom and justice. You got to really question everything, especially our court.
Or how does it go? Land of the free, home of the brave, perhaps?
Yes.
Mostly the home of the brave. Right. So he stole your case. He did not disclose the fact that he employed your opposing counsel. Your opposing counsel did not disclose that either. And the last question I have for you is, please detail what happened in the background with Lesley, because there was an issue with her before, too, that's ethically charged.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, I'm an advocate for wounded warriors, veterans, etc. And when my cousin asked me to be an advocate for her mother in this case, Lesley, I remember I was so shocked because
What's your name?
Margaret Sue Boscos.
Now, Ms. Boscos, you've been in contact with me because you saw the video I've done about Judge Rumbaugh violating the First Amendment and General Rule 16 that compels an analysis before you reject court coverage from news media.
Sir, what's with the camera?
I'm news media.
Remove the camera from the courtroom. Right now.
Now, in this instance, you have an aunt who was critically injured, fatally injured.
Right. She's on paratrans.
Paratrans, yes. And they did not properly secure her wheelchair, correct?
That's right.
And what happened next?
Well, what happened was, here she is. She did not properly secure her wheelchair. They're driving and speeding around a curve. They negotiated this turn, and the wheels flipped up and over, and she landed on her head. And she broke her neck. She heard her neck snap. And so she's screaming and she's crying, and the driver's saying, oh, and she says, do not touch me. And she said, there's a fire station right there, take me to the fire station. He ignores her. He picks her up, puts her on the bench, wipes the blood off her face, and then he puts her back into the chair. And then what he does is he buckles her in to the chair, and then he ignores her cry for help. He takes her wheelchair, deploys her off of the paratrans, and he's not allowed to put her inside the house, and she's crying, she's begging, just call my daughter, and I promise you I will not tell. And so he's like, well,
basically, we're the power of attorney, and everybody knows it gives you the right to sue on their behalf and to represent them.
Right.
However, they try to force you into being just the representative of the estate, which puts a cap at $100,000 for this tragic accident. Now, this involves a case in which the defendants broke the family matriarch's neck, and in which the local and federal courts have ignored statutory and federal constitutional law with respect to free press and public accommodation. The plaintiff alleges that the court just sits on her requests for public accommodation and ignores them. Now, Judge Rumbaugh gets away with this kind of nonsense that happens in Pierce County, but in a related federal case, a RICO case, Judge Ronald B. Leighton might not fare so well, because this time we have caught him and attorney Lesley Fleming failing to disclose the fact that she was his law clerk during her professional career. This is a clear-cut ethics violation, folks. I've litigated it before in another federal case. More on this momentarily. Now, you may remember Lesley Fleming from my prior video with her wagging her finger at me as if I am the one who is ethically challenged, right? Do you represent Zurich or anything in this case?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Is it Zurich's contention that they don't have a right to represent the estate?
There's no hearing today. I'm here to observe.
Okay.
There's no hearing.
But regardless of that, is it Zurich's position that as a power of attorney, she doesn't have the right to...
Read the pleadings.
Okay.
Read the pleadings.
I understand. I've read some of the pleadings, and I do understand that Zurich had the power of attorney but didn't forward it to the court.
Read the pleadings.
Okay. I'll do that.
All right. I'm here just observing today.
That's fine, but your name is?
Lesley Fleming.
Yeah, Chris King. I may have sent you the notice of media coverage. So I will definitely be back in touch with you. Yes.
Okay.
I'm already suing him over
like refusing the right to video in his court, all right? So, and we're not even in his court. We're in a
Thanks
public
for
hallway.
catching that.
Yeah, we're in a public hallway.
You do not have my permission to be filming me out in the...
Oh, well, we'll take that up. But if you want to get a restraining order on me, go for it.
Now, this is important because Judge Leighton handpicked this case and pulled it from the Seattle federal docket and placed it down in Tacoma, where the plaintiffs were already alleging corruption in the first place. Now, incredibly, plaintiff's online research brought her right back to me, the only journalist who's been actively following this case. I discovered several years ago in a lawsuit involving U.S. Senator Kelly Ayotte and Magistrate Lanja B. McCafferty, I discovered that they both had worked under my opposing counsel, Jack Middleton, at McLean Graff on a First Amendment case. Now, McCafferty eventually recused herself, but only after the damage was done, and the taxpayers had thereby subsidized a fixed outcome case, and Ayotte was allowed to throw me out of a publicly advertised benefit for none other than the racist sheriff from Texas, Donald Trump's buddy Joe Arpaio.
Yes, sir. Were you aware that they tried a similar initiative here in the Monadnock Valley about 5 years ago? They tried to criminalize being an undocumented worker at that time, and they made it into trespassing. Were you aware of that failed initiative 5 years ago?
No, I'm not aware of it, but they may have been ahead of the game. But by the way, have they been successful?
No, that failed. Also, do you honestly think that undocumented workers are the cause of our economic woes in this country? And there's plenty of M1 and M2 going around in the world.
Just like these other members of the press.
The heck I'm not. I cover... Miss Lothrop, welcome to the internet. Because why? Because Kelly Ayotte doesn't like me? Is that why I got asked to leave?
Are you going to leave? Or are you going to get arrested?
So I want to be clear. You are threatening me with arrest.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct?
That's correct.
On whose orders?
Yeah, this is how the game is played in America, folks. I'm just here to expose it. Now, moreover, there were some shenanigans involved in the issuances of summonses, too. We'll get to that in the next installment. And Fleming and her crew, I believe, obtained access to documents before they were even technically served. That yet another oddity that, we'll talk about that later. Your documents prove the point.
Oh yeah. You know what? We know what right looks like, and what's happening is not right.
Right.
And so the people need to know, especially our soldiers need to know.
Right. What they're fighting and dying for is illusory.
Like, what are you thinking about as you look at this stuff that you're finding out? And you saw that my other case with Lanja McCafferty, another federal judge that worked, for the same law firm I'm against.
It's blown away because you know what? My mindset, I'm wired like an Army officer, and we have so much respect for generals for when you come into the court, and when you see they're corrupt, and this is a reoccurring thing because I've done research and then also looking at everything that you've gone through and what you fought for.
Yeah.
And when you see it's a reoccurring issue, you cannot help but to think it starts from the top.
Oh yeah, the fish rots at the head. Exactly.
Yeah, and so it disappoints me. And like I told this judge, I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
Leighton. Yeah.
I told him, if you expect me to follow the Washington law, you got to follow the federal law.
That's right. Federal trumps everything. And, I was a constitutional scholar. That's what I did in law school. Federal trumps everything. And international trumps federal, theoretically.
And so my mindset is like a colonel, like somebody on the battlefield. And that's how I think. And we look up to people like him. And I said, if you're going to try to throw out my case because I'm not following the Washington law, don't you think you need to follow the federal law?
Yeah.